What's up, everybody? Welcome to Cornhole Geartalk, presented by West Georgia Cornhole and Titan Bags. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm here with my co-host, Kendall.
Howdy, howdy.
And Josh.
Howdy, howdy. All right.
Josh,
That was good.
do cornhole bag speeds even matter?
It depends on how fast they can go.
Cornhole bag speeds don't matter at all.
No, they don't.
I don't know. Let's
I think they matter to a degree.
Let's get into that. Let's dissect it a little bit. Okay, why do cornhole bag speeds even exist in the first place?
I mean, I think a lot of it just has to do is because one, I feel like everybody's throw is so different. I think that's like the main thing with cornhole that you can watch is like obviously the bag looks similar in the air, but the way it leaves their hand is so different. And I feel like ultimately that's where it kind of came from is just adjusting for each person. You know, somebody wants a little bit of a slower bag, they want to play a different way, or I don't know. I feel like there's an array of reasons now that I'm trying to explain it.
Well, so that's kind of a partial answer to the question.
I know.
But like the initial idea that I'm thinking about is, at what point did a bag's speed become different at all? Because
at first, I mean, you had stick and slide, or
way
back.
No, way back is just duck canvas.
It's just canvas.
Just sewed up pillowcases.
That's right.
Yeah.
With some like corn or rocks in it.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody knew, like, I grabbed a cornhole bag, it's going to go this fast because it's all the same. Then you got introduced into the stick and slides.
Mm-hmm.
And some like psychopath was like, let me grab this suede pillowcase and cut some stuff out of it because I think suede is going to go a lot slower.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, oh, well, this works.
Yeah.
And everybody said, let's do that. And so everybody did that.
I bet, this is just hypothetical, or an assumption. I don't know what word I want to pick here, but I'm going to assume probably the same way I've experienced at other people's houses and other people's boards. I feel like, you know, John Doe, whoever did this with their suede pillowcase, went over to Jim Bob's house, and his board was great. Perfect speed, was loving the duck canvas, got his boards made, went home, and they were just lightning. They were just so fast, and he was just like, I don't understand.
I totally thought you were going a completely different direction with this. Like, so something that's happened to me, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys, but people who play cornhole, every now and then, like I'll sit down on a couch.
Me too, every once in a while.
I'll sit down on a couch, and I'll like put my hand down on the cushion.
Ooh,
and I'll be like, ooh, that would make for
That'd be a good fabric.
Yeah, I went over to John Doe's house the other day, dude. I
stole the cushion.
Let me tell you, that cushion felt right.
Man, we're going down to a thrift store every weekend. We're snatching up them couches like it's nothing else.
God, I want one made out of like the old '70s flower pattern.
Yeah.
Like the my gosh.
I bet those would be fast.
Oh, that would that'd be good.
That's a Stephen Bernasette bag. Come out rocking the pink floral couch bags.
The limited edition.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Well, anyway.
Yeah, we'll get a little back on track now. Maybe.
Yeah, so bag speeds at one point, I mean, somebody's like, let's put suede on it. It'll help slow the stuff down.
Yeah, and then I feel like even speed numbers, I doubt were even considered, even verbally, just because at that point it's just like it was either fast or it was slow. Yeah. There was no need to differentiate between fast and kind of fast or slow and really slow. So yeah, I feel like I had to have been a ways down, and then eventually I feel like it was us who kind of started that like printing numbers and informing people of numbers, at least within our products, of letting people like this having this large array of speed numbers.
Well, yeah, because I mean, at a certain point, people were making more than just like two kinds of bags. Yeah. And gosh, I'm trying to remember what year it was, because I mean, we only had one or two ACL approved bags for the first season or two. Yeah. And then eventually they opened it up to a multitude of bag types. And we said, well, let's just do as many as we can.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And boy, did we make some interesting choices.
The one with the jersey material on it?
Yeah. The Apache bag.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. I've got to track down a set. I threw a set one time, and I'm so mad at myself now when we had the bin of the leftovers up there that I did not get a set. I got to track a set down.
Most of that bin, I'm pretty sure, were sets of 3, though.
Dude, holler at us if you own a set of West Georgia Apache bags. Those things are crazy.
And if you don't, find somebody who does and try them. You will not be disappointed.
You know, I bet that if we put those bags back out today because you could bounce those bags, but they were fast.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see what some of these flop and bounce guys would do with it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try and track a set down. I got to now that we're talking about it.
Dude. Yeah, I think I actually have a set.
Do you?
I'll see if I can find it.
Bring them tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you got it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do.
I think once, companies started realizing we got room. We can have a fast bag. We can have a slow bag. We can have a medium bag. And then they're like, well, we've got 8 more options.
Yeah, you got these weekend or, cracking cold one with the boys type of guys going out to fabric trade shows and Joann's and stuff, like plundering the fabric. All these people got to be looking at us like, what are they doing at our craft show? Like, like we're making cornhole bags. Like, what?
Yep.
Like, you guys are crazy. But yeah, we were looking for fabrics that were everywhere on the in-between and had different kinds of properties, which I would say like the original West Georgia bags that we came out with, so much of that was an experiment.
Oh, yeah.
And it's we were trying to figure out, okay, what is the limit of what we can do? Which, I mean, if anybody knows, like the old Jekyll and Slide bags,
oh God,
crazy, absolutely insane. And well, we found the boundaries.
Yeah.
But we obviously came out with a bunch of different styles of bags, bunch of different fabrics, and those fabrics all slid differently. And it was always interesting communicating to the customer, like, well, this one's faster than that one. Okay, well, how do you know? Like, well, we just know because we throw them.
Yeah.
And eventually it got to the point where we're like, well, okay, nobody really has any good indicator on a scale because the scale is starting to evolve with all these different bags, like where a specific fabric sits. And so we devised a wild plan. We're going to build a gigantic ramp.
Yes, I missed the ramp.
Yeah, we built a huge ramp.
And like huge. It's very impressive.
It was large. Yeah, we set this ramp up. It had I want to say it was a coated PVC surface on it. And it slid the same way uniformly across the whole thing. We're like, well, we'll just print a bunch of numbers on it. And wherever the bag slides to, that's where it's going to go.
We even brought it to that indoor rec center where it was like climate controlled.
Right, because our warehouse was not climate controlled. We're like, we can't do this here. And so we went to that place. We climate controlled it. We set the humidity to like right about in the middle. It wasn't like super dry. It wasn't super humid. And then we had the temperature, I want to say it was set to like 70 degrees Fahrenheit in there. And once everything had kind of stabilized out, we're like, okay, now it's time to go. And so we had, which we had a bunch of bags from other companies too. We're like, this would be fun to see how all these bags compare. And so we dropped all these things down this ramp and we figured out, okay, well, on a scale of this is where this bag sits, right? The Jekyll and Slide 1.0s, those were like an 11 something because it went way past 10. But yeah, I mean, that was a cool little experiment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's still a video of that floating around somewhere, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's funny because the name of this podcast is Cornhole Geartalk. Well, the whole idea of Cornhole Geartalk was started back then when we made that video. And so we started a YouTube channel and we were going to get very, very deep, and it was going to be more of like a science-based thing, like what's all the science. And then once we started writing everything out, it's like, man, these are like trade secrets.
Yeah, we don't need to get rid of all this.
We don't need to be pushing all this stuff out there for everybody to see. And so we kind of shut the program down.
Yeah,
pretty fast.
Yeah.
But that first video, you can still look it up. Cornhole Geartalk. I can't remember what the title of it was. It was like bag speed ramp or something like that. Cornhole bag speed chart. The universal. That was what it was. The universal bags
in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, go look that up. It'd be kind of cool. Yeah. But so with the data that we got from that, we started printing the speeds of the fabric on the bags. And I mean, we were pretty specific. It was like down to the decimal point.
Yeah.
It was insane.
But dude, like that helped a lot when talking to customers and people buying on the website. They're like, I know that I like this bag and it's this speed, so I'm going to try that bag because I want something a little bit faster.
Yeah.
It was crazy what that did.
Well, and it all goes back to similar to what we've talked about before. Like, when you bring friends over who don't know, I mean, like if there's somebody who throws a bunch of West Georgia bags from back in the day, you generally know. Like whenever you're playing in the league, if you play at the shop, you kind of figure out what bags you like. But, if your friend comes over, it's nice to be able to say like, hey, here are these 4 sets. This is a 10, a 7, a 3, and a 5. And he can kind of, pick right there. And that's still kind of what, serves that purpose.
Yeah.
And it's great, it's one thing Jordan Powers talked to us a lot about. Like that is whenever he's, marketing and showing off the Titan bags and everything, he says that's a lot of people's favorite thing because he can set his bags out and somebody wants to try a Titan bag. They normally throw a 5 in another company. They can just go over there, flip the bag over. They know what they have. They don't have to do like a bunch of back and forth, bunch of internet searches. Like they know right there which bag they want to try, and it just takes all the guesswork out of it too.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat thing to be able to have that, and we carried that. I don't know if you want to call it a tradition, but we carried that over to Titan. But of course, we simplified it. We made it whole numbers.
Yeah,
no decimal points anymore.
Yeah, but it's. I think we've mentioned it on a previous episode, but we do have an upcoming scale type situation that we're going to be putting on the website for the bags, even though the stuff on the bags will probably remain the same. But it'll give people a good idea about the range of speed for each fabric, showing, okay, this bag could get down to this speed with high humidity or get up to this speed with no humidity. So I think it could be another evolution of the tool of speed numbers associated with different fabric types and bags. An interesting fact too, whenever we did that test, there were some bags that had the exact same fabrics but had different fill and different stitching pattern sizes to them, and they ended up having very different speeds.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because like the way that like there was more friction or less friction on the surface because of the roundness of the bag.
Also, the amount of surface area making contact with it. Because from my experience, like if you really throw it, I feel like the Thrasher moves a little bit faster than the Venom, and it's just because I feel like there's just that extra little bit of fabric. It's a little bit of a bigger bag.
Yeah. Well, so with all of this stuff that we have learned about the speeds of bags, and with the evolution and development of all of these different possibilities coming out, what that has done is it's created different genres of players.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's necessarily that because the bag selection is so big, it's created those different players, or those players are drawn, the naturally gifted players in those styles are drawn to it. It's like which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well,
yeah.
It doesn't matter because bag speeds don't matter. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, you really see like 3 really big, like I would say categories of play style when it comes to cornhole. You got your slow bag, roll bag players. Then you've got your medium speed guys who you see them a lot, putting up a lot of blocks, throwing some airmails. Might get a little dirty, but not anything crazy. And then you got guys that they're just going in the hole. I mean, they'll slide it in the hole. You put one in front of it. They'll flip their already fast bag to the fast side and just push straight through it.
Yeah, they'll just collect. Yeah. They're just going to slide in or collect.
Yeah. And you see all 3 of those styles at every single level, which is the impressive thing. It's not like, I mean, the roll shots and all that are a little bit more technical, but you'll see guys who are learning that, and they'll be at a lower level, and you're still seeing that style. Like myself, I suck, but I can still kind of do it.
Don't take any throwing advice from any of us.
Yeah, no. There's a reason we're at a desk and not playing right now.
Exactly.
There's a reason why we make the products.
Yeah.
But yeah. And there's a reason why we sponsor people to use our products.
Exactly.
And that's another thing across, everybody we sponsor, it's kind of going back to what you're saying, like you have those 3 categories and kind of, are the bags there for them or did they gravitate towards the bags? Like, kind of which way did it start? And I feel especially with with at every level, I feel like it makes me curious, like if people like Byron Sisson or Stephen Bernasette, who throw super fast bags.
Say his name again.
Byron Sisson. How do we say it?
I have never heard anybody say his name.
I'm pretty sure that's how.
Sisson.
Sisson?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's Southern, man. Come on.
Sisson.
Oh my god.
I do like Sisson pretty good though. That's nice.
That's when he puts on a suit.
Yeah.
A bow tie.
That's it.
It sounds like a little bit French, I guess. My name is Byron Sisson.
It could be. I don't know. Anyways, these people who throw fast bags, I'm curious, like, because that's obviously like naturally their throw. They have like a high lofty bag, and then they just aren't putting a lot of push behind it, and that's what I guess works for them. And I'm curious, like, if they'd be playing at the same caliber, like if for some reason culturally super fast bags never became a thing. Like if it was just consistently stick and slide, or if we never really moved past like the mid carpet speed.
Dude, I was terrible at cornhole until slow bags came out.
See, this is really bad of me, but if somebody pulls up to the board next to me and they have a Ravager Fury, I kind of automatically assume I'm going to win, which is not a good mindset for me, but because I just feel like the faster bag players, they're more of throw it up in the air and hope it goes in. But that's just at this level.
I do think like if you're middle of the pack to lower, I do think it requires a lot of skill to control not like a 9-8 bag.
Yeah.
And like to know that it's going in every time, it's like you have to be pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And so I do see where you're coming from for sure, because they miss it all, it's going off the back.
Yeah. And that's like once you get up to the pro level, of course, you got guys that throw super fast and just insane. They walk me in a heartbeat. But I do kind of associate that sometimes with maybe not a bad player, but I feel like at this level, if somebody's got a fast bag, me being a slow bag player, I can take a lot more advantage of somebody throwing that faster bag.
Mm-hmm.
When you say this level, what do you mean?
Terrible. No, it's like I consider myself like, I really don't know, like low competitive, maybe mid competitive. I don't know. I really don't know what my level would be considered.
That's really interesting. I just now realized, like what I said a second ago, I didn't start being able to have the opportunity to play well until slow bags became a thing. Or I guess really not slow bags, because Suede was there, mid-speed bags.
Yeah.
Stuff like when we came out with the Air Force One bag. I guess that kind of does play into the idea that certain people have tendencies with bags and gravitate towards those styles.
Yeah, I would say, because I was the same way with the Venom. I would say the Venom was kind of my door opening of like getting pretty good at cornhole.
Yeah, because that's I bring that up because the whole fast bag bad player thing, which is not really true, but whenever I threw the Ravager Fury for a long time, me and you both did, and I feel like once we got away from that bag and went to a Venom, I feel like me and you both, our game just elevated a ton.
Absolutely. Yeah,
a ton. And that was just because it was more suited for us.
Yeah, I think naturally I felt more comfortable throwing it. I could make it work, but I feel like the whole time I was trying to, fit a puzzle piece somewhere where it wasn't supposed to go. And it's like I think some people, it just works for them.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of people coming after you soon.
Me.
Like everybody and their brother is going to be stepping up beside you with some Ravagers.
If it was up to me, I'd cut the Stampede and the Ravager right now. Come at me.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm kidding. The Ravager's a great bag. I still throw them every once in a while.
Well, so I guess West Georgia released a lot of bags back in the day. And, of course, Titan became a thing. And something that I'm sure everybody has noticed, as soon as one bag manufacturer comes out with a fabric that's just on point.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody starts using it.
Oh, yeah.
It like just starts popping up like weeds
around
the bag industry.
I feel like that's kind of where we're at, where it's everybody, I wouldn't even say is copying each other, but it's more so it's everybody went to Joann's and everybody came back with the same fabrics. And once they tried all 200 fabrics, I feel like a lot of companies have settled on the same things.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of, where we're at now too, is like, what's the next fabric?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you see, I mean, across every company, there's familiarity. There's similarities. We'll use that word. My bad.
Ooh, get it out.
But you'll see, like, there's like a super fast. There's one material that everybody uses for a super fast material, but it does the job better than any other material. So there's obviously people are going to gravitate towards that. I mean,
yeah, there's a reason why that fabric. And it also has to do, like we've talked about before, with like the hand feel and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are some fabrics that have been used in our past that are very fast and feel terrible.
Yeah. And so, like, majority of those super popular fabrics, I get it. You know, it's out. It's really, really good. So of course, every company is going to gravitate towards that. But then you start to see some of those more, you know, niche materials, stuff that nobody's really ever had, and you see it more now. One person comes out with it, and it does seem like everybody kind of flocks toward that material, which has been very odd to see.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been happening a whole lot recently, even more than the past, but you get some good bags out of it either way.
I mean, I guess if everybody starts using the same fabrics all the time, I mean, is that pushing towards the scary idea of a universal bag? Like, if there's just an agreed upon fabric, you know?
It sounds like some Big Brother stuff right there.
So, Josh, if there was a universal bag, what's it going to be? What do you think it would be?
What do I think it would be? I feel like right now, I think it would change by season. I think there's a chance it would change occasionally by season. I don't think it would be one bag that would then be used for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
And so I think if it was to come out for 2024, I feel like some mid-speed carpet bag is going to be the universal bag. There's
mid-speed carpet with a decent fast side.
Yeah. Oh, like definitely. I think like an 8 or a 9 fast side with a stickier-ish carpet. Like, I don't think it would be a mid-slide carpet. I think it would be in like the 3 to 4 range.
So let me ask you this: with that question, with the answer to that question, who suffers more? The guys who, if we're talking a mid-speed carpet, who suffers more? The guys who throw super slow or the guys who throw super fast?
I think the people who throw super fast bags exclusively. I think the other thing too is, like, ultimately, how does the bag feel as well?
Yeah.
Like, what's the shape of the bag? Is it all flat pellets? Is it round pellets? Like, there's a lot of things that would go into like who actually suffers, and like, but I guess my head's going into like the Ravager Fury players of like the thinner, floppier bag that's flat pellets and just fast and faster. I think those are the people who would, not that they couldn't adjust, but I think their adjustment period would take the longest.
Oh yeah.
Because now I think cornhole skill it's there regardless. Especially now, everyone kind of has to be a little techie now. Even people like, you have Jason Frady who throws a Ravager, but he's still throwing his interesting cut shots and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
and
he's insane with those bags.
Yeah, and so people are figuring it out, and I just think it would take longer for those players to figure it out.
Yeah, that would be very interesting because back in the day, there used to be a universal bag.
Yeah, for the ACO, they did. It was just a basic stick and slide, right?
Yeah. And that was, I mean, I liked that because you had to, absolutely had to perfect your throw.
I don't like that.
Well,
I mean, going back to what I said earlier.
I like it better now, but
100%. I like it better.
The people who were there, they had that throw absolutely perfected. That bag was super flat. It wasn't wobbly, and it had to be just because of the way the bags performed. But we were talking about this a couple podcasts ago about how you get these super floppy, hole-friendly bags, and you got guys that can just toss them up in the air and they go in.
Mm-hmm.
If you did that back in the day, good luck.
I think also back then, like with those types of bags, the rounds, I don't want to say were predictable. Obviously, I'm sure there were crazy games that were really interesting, but you had more of the stereotypical, just kind of like slide, replace, collect. Yeah. Or just like, slide, leave a blocker, airmail.
Yeah, block, airmail,
collect.
Push.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, like now, I love that the carpet has blown up. Because you do get some super interesting games now.
Oh, dude, yeah, 100%.
I think, and because I guess I feel like now all three spectrums are really popular with bags.
Yep.
As compared to, I feel like just either fast or like a mid-speed slide was kind of the only thing maybe 2 to 3 years ago. But now you have so many different matchups too that make it way more interesting. Because like carpet v carpet, it's a little expected like as to what's going to happen. It'll probably be kind of a long game. But when you have like those super fast bag players against carpet players, they both have to kind of read into how they're going to play and predicting, and say they're playing against somebody who doesn't play the same way they do. And to me, that's super interesting.
It is.
Well, let's talk about speeds versus speeds. When you're pairing up to play against somebody, do you prefer playing against somebody that shares the same type of bag that you have, like talking about speed ranges, or somebody who has a vastly different bag speed than you do?
So for me personally, if I'm in like a weird cash game situation, like if it's like, I'll bet you $20, whatever, I think I would prefer them to throw a similar bag, but at the same time, if they don't throw one, then I have a really good excuse when I lose. Like I feel like I'm like, it's the bags. But I think normally for me, I do prefer. To me, it's easier to wrap my head around what they're gonna do or expecting what they're gonna do if they're throwing a similar bag to me. But that's also as kind of a medium tier to novice cornhole player. So
because I throw slower bags, I prefer it for someone to be at a different speed than me.
You from slower or faster?
Faster. Because I feel like I have a significant advantage over them. Unless they can just airmail like nobody's business, which seems to be a pretty common theme with people who throw fast bags. But if they can't, then that's where it gives me my advantage, because I can typically throw some distraction bags, blocker bags that just mess with people. Yeah. Which I would say I would throw a blocker bag, but I, for whatever reason, just can't locate good blocks.
Around the third bag, I normally land that blocker. It's pretty good at that point.
All the rest of them, I've accidentally gone in.
Whoopsies.
Yeah.
For me personally, I don't think I really have a preference. I know I said earlier, if somebody steps up next to me with a Ravager, I'm taking them to town.
But that's a big statement, so I feel like you got a preference.
I mean, it was more so poking fun at people like that.
Join us next week for our live streamed match of Ben versus Kendall.
I think, honestly, because, I mean, at this level, like I said, at this level, you don't have somebody banging 4 airmails. And so for me, I would prefer somebody with a faster bag that can't play on a dirty board. But most players, I'd say the people I've been playing against recently, they do have that. And so, if it's not a novice, then that whole scenario of if you got a fast bag, I'm winning kind of goes out the window. For me, what it does mainly is I kind of adjust the way I play. So I don't really have a favorite. But say I'm playing with another slow bag player, I'm going in. That's all I'm doing. I'm going in the hole. I'm not putting up a block, and we're about to see who's better at doing what they don't normally do. If you put up a blocker, I'm flipping to the fast side and I'm pushing through it. And a lot of time, I think it just gets in people's head. They're like, oh, carpet player, we're going to be rolling like crazy. And then all of a sudden, I'm just pushing through every block. And they're like, what is this kid doing? And then same scenario for those mid-speed guys. I'll, for the most part, I'm going in the hole. And then the third bag blocker will get them a lot. You slide 2 in, third bag, you block. And they're like, oh, I got to do something different. And then you can clean up if they miss that bag. So it really just affects the way I play. And it's not really a preference. Of course, I would love to be able to just block and roll every time, but I'm not that good. So there's really no preference for me. It's just adjusting. Being able to adjust is the main thing, though.
You mentioned something in that statement that reminded me of a thought we've had before. So you said that they're expecting you to start rolling a lot, but then you push through and it messes with them. I really want to have an in-depth conversation about cornhole psychology. How can, and almost like a how-to video. Like maybe it would be really fun. You guys out there, you can tell us what you think about this. Maybe it'd be really fun to interview a bunch of pros who seem to have manipulated the situation mentally.
So are we talking to Adam and Cody?
Yep.
Maybe
about them just slowly breaking people down, just emotionally.
Well, I mean, of course. I mean, maybe we're beating a dead horse here, but like the whole Jay Jordan situation.
Oh yeah, for
like,
sure. Yeah.
I think that was one of them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think stamina had a lot to do with it, but there were some mistakes made in that game that I think can only be attributed to they got in their heads.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
But talk through some of those things, and what messes with you. God, that would be
interesting next week.
Yeah, a little sneak preview for next week. So let's get back to some bag speed stuff here, though. So I guess I would probably say Titan has evolved into probably one of the biggest lineup of bags.
I think it is
overall.
Yeah, I think it is the largest.
And there are a lot of key and specific reasons that we want that to be that way and stay that way for as long as we can. But there, throughout the years, bag companies have expanded their bag selection and contracted it and that sort of thing. Do you guys see that it's going to want to keep expanding or narrow down?
I kind of see both sides of it. At a professional level, there tends to be, I mean, you see it with just about every company. It tends to be like 4 or 5 staple bags from each brand that all those pros are throwing. But then you go and look at sales on the other end of things for your normal players, your non-professionals, your backyard players, all that. You will see completely different bags that are super popular.
Yeah.
So if we're leaning more towards the professional side, I would say it would shrink. But on the more casual side, I'd say I could see it getting bigger. And whether that be just fewer ACL stamps offered per company, I could see that being a thing. But then on the back end, you can make as many bags you want. I could see that being a thing.
But do we think it's going to expand any if they end up going forward with this crazy idea of bag changes in the middle of a game?
Oh, that dude.
And so so if you have companies that have only 2 to 3 sets that are their staple bags, and then let's say you have 8, if they only have 8 pros in their lineup, each one of those people are going to technically want up to 2 sets, and I doubt it's all going to be of their 2 primary. And so I feel like a lot of the companies that have 4 or 5 primary bags, if they go forward with this, I don't think it will, but if they go forward with it, I think you're going to start seeing 8 to 10 sets from other companies for that reason.
That's also interesting to think about with if this rule does go into play, just how bag speeds play into that as well. I mean, look at guys, they're going to be first scenario I can think about. You start off with, a carpet bag. You get up by like 5 points. And then you're like, hold on, time out. I'm going to switch bags. And then you just start sliding them in. Like, you get up, like, say, round limited format. You play dirty, get ahead by 2 points, and then you just outslide them. Change bags and outslide them. Like, that could get super interesting.
And see, the reason that I really like it is because it bumps up the strategy.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I think, ultimately, hot take maybe. Ultimately, I don't think it's a good idea. But I see exactly where they're coming from because it's something I was talking to my dad about it actually the other day, because you have the round limit that currently exists for like the shootouts and stuff where they can only have 10 to 12. Sometimes it's 12, right?
Yeah, 10 to 12.
And a lot of that has to do with time because you have some people who, like, if they're both just slide players and they're just throwing 4 in the hole every time, you have to sit there forever and watch this game. And I think this is a solution to where you could possibly not have to limit the rounds, but I think just more variety is going to happen to where it's not just the same game on repeat for 45 minutes, and you have a chance of adding more strategy to it, like you were saying.
Yeah, I could see some crazy stuff going down with it, but also like on the error side too, because I mean that a lot of the guys, if they're throwing hot, they're not going to change their bags.
Oh yeah, no.
But if somebody is struggling, they're going to change their bags. What is that going to throw into the equation?
Yeah, for the guy who's throwing hot, yeah.
I mean, back to cornhole psychology. What does that do to the guy who's throwing really good with his bags?
Yeah.
This guy just scored 15 on me. Let me grab another set. That's got to do something to him.
Yeah. Or it's like you were saying, how like if you feel like you're playing against somebody with a Ravager Fury, you feel comfort in that. But if someone's just holding his own with you with a set of dozers, and then he's like, all right, let me get my Ravager Furies, just this complete opposite bag, I feel like I would be like, oh God, I'm nervous about this first bag.
Yeah,
what is he about to do
on here?
Yeah.
Well, let's say that he's terrible with Ravager bags, but his first bag happens to go in. And then you just lose it mentally.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
I'm done.
I feel like it would definitely play more into the mental side of Cornhole than it would the physical, like actually throwing the bag side.
Oh God.
I say we allow just 4 different bags.
I would. Oh my gosh.
Just walking around like Inspector Gadget with all these things.
It's just like golf clubs, It's like, okay, my first shot is this. It's my blocker bag.
Titan players walking around with 15 bags.
You remember we did that last year?
Start walking around with those little...
It's been 2 years now.
Jeez.
It's been a long time. We did that one time with 4 different bags per person.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. It was a good time.
That was a good time.
Zuka's going to come out with a cornhole rickshaw. Just walking this big cart behind you with bags.
I'm picturing the same shape, but just really tall. It's just he's massive.
It's just like a hand truck. Like you're just wheeling this big, giant cabinet of bags around.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, good. Hey, that's a good marketing opportunity.
Yep.
There.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And you sit on it, kick your feet around.
You got them labeled like the top locker. That's your block bags. You got to slide down here. Oh man.
I think it would definitely be interesting. Get to see. I think you'd see some more well-rounded players as well. Instead of seeing this one guy, all he does is block and roll, you'd see this one guy who's really good at blocking and rolling, but if you want to go for slide shots, he's got you. I think it would be really cool to see, but at the same time, I would vote no.
Well, also, it changes the dynamic of what players are going to make it on top. Like we talked about how it seems to be like this, spinning door of people going in and out of being the top players. Like, well, that's just going to do it again because somebody is going to figure out how to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And they're going to be the best at it.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to be on top because of it.
Yeah. There's so much it could play into. I think it would be, like I said, I think it would be super interesting. Golly, it'd be so weird. It'd be so weird seeing that.
I imagine that with the really high-level pros, if you are playing on ESPN or something, more than likely the case is that people are not going to change their bags unless it gets really bad.
Yeah.
But I think that you would see it a lot in like lower-level play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then, but also for like ESPN reasons, I feel like it would require the pros to have multiples of the same design, but on different bags.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you start the game out throwing a red Devastator and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, let me go grab my lime green Tyrants, then I feel like that would cause an issue.
And, like, obviously the person you're playing against, they'll know what's going on. But, 3 years from now when you're watching an ACL highlight and you're like, what game is this? This guy has different bags now.
You're sitting there. You're watching it in your recliner. You get up and go to the pantry to get your warm glass of milk.
The pantry? Hold on. What?
Warm milk?
The pantry?
You walk.
Tried to sneak that one in there.
Oh, my God.
You walk back. You look at the TV screen, and there you see it. Byron Sisson's throwing a...
Sisson.
He is throwing a completely different color of bags. You're like, wait a minute.
What did I miss?
What's going on?
Could they put their foot down and him just have 2 sets of Ravagers, but just different colors? Could he I gotta change bags.
He really wanted to play into the psychology of it. Just like, you know what? Red makes them think this.
Yep.
Green makes them think this. God, man. Oh.
Pause an ESPN game. I gotta change bags.
Oh.
Well, there's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Especially warm glasses of milk
from the pantry. I don't care about the temperature. It's the pantry. Your unrefrigerated milk.
Well, everybody, like we always do. Oh, I went too far. Okay. Oh.
I can't even see it this week.
Use the code. It's up there. You know it. Use code Geartalk on the West Georgia Cornhole website or the Titan website and get you some 5% off of your next purchase. And also, if you use the code, guess what? It helps us have a bigger budget so we can do more fun stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Actually, I don't know if it helps us have a bigger budget. We'll see. We're going to argue
at some
for
point
that.
It will.
Yeah. Everybody in the comments, just say give them a bigger budget.
Maybe we'll get our own stools in here, and we won't have to keep bringing them in.
We're going to start shooting fireworks off at the intro to every podcast.
Oh, my God.
We'll keep things interesting. But be sure to like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, and, I mean, we've mentioned it several times before, but if you didn't know, you can watch these videos on Spotify too. That's pretty neat. You can listen or watch. But yeah, well, thanks everybody for tuning in, and be sure to tune in next week because it sounds like we already have an episode.
It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, it'll be something to think about.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, see you next week.